Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be doing another fun challenge of mine that I did at the beginning of starting this YouTube channel. We are going to be seeing how many pages I realistically read in a week, college edition. So if you guys don't know, I am a senior in college. This is my last semester. I go to the University of Iowa. I'm studying creative writing and psychology, and with creative writing specifically on the publishing track, while also in turn writing my debut novel. But you know, that's just kind of like fun little introductory stuff. But basically I'm starting this on a Sunday, and I just kind of want to update a little bit, you guys, about like what books I'm reading technically, because I have not only my books that I'm reading for pleasures and also for videos as well too. I have my books that I'm also reading for classes and different readings that are not technically going to be a part of this challenge, because it's more like readings and such than like actual like pages within books. So to first get started with it, I'm currently reading 2 books on my Kindle, and also I changed out my Kindle design and such like that as well too. We have a little bit of stuff going on for Halloween vibes, but the 2 books that I'm currently reading on my Kindle is The Saga of the People of Laxadol, I think is how you pronounce that name. That's from my medieval Norse literature class and such. I'm reading for that class. And then the other book that I have that I'm also reading on my Kindle is How Fiction Works by James Wood. I'm reading that for a class of mine called The Craft of the Novel, which is basically where we learn about novels and how novels work, specifically with writing, descriptors, characters, and like narration and that type of stuff. So I'm reading those on my Kindle currently, and I'm not too far into the Saga one specifically. Like, I need to look at it again. I've been periodically listening to that one like via audiobook for my class, and I need to read a couple more chapters before Tuesday and such. So you guys will probably see me listening to a little bit of that while I'm doing schoolwork as well too. And this week, I don't think I really need to read anything from How Fiction Works, but I'm not too sure. I need to look at the syllabus again just to kind of like double check and such. But those are the books I'm reading on my Kindle currently. And then another book that I'm reading for one of my classes, which of course is The Craft of the Novel, which is what is it? The Remains of the Day by Kazuo Ishiguro, I believe is how you pronounce his name. Apologies if I am butchering his name and such. And we've been reading that for class and such. And I'm on page 127 specifically. Yeah, I'm on page 127, which looks about halfway actually. So we just need to read, I think we need to read 2 more chapters, I think. So I'm not too worried about that. And that's before my class on Thursday. So this is one of the books that I'm also reading. And then also another book that I'm reading for actually another video that I'm actually filming during this one, which is reading my highest and lowest rated books on my TBR, which of course is Heartless by Elsie Silver. I am not too far into Heartless. I'm on page 108 specifically, and this one follows Cade and Willa. This is the second book in the Chestnut Spring series. I read Flawless in my 24-hour readathon. If you guys want to go check that out and see like my thoughts on that. That was my first ever cowboy romance. I liked Flawless. I gave it a 4-star, and I've been periodically like reading while also listening to the audiobook as well too. And I don't know why, but the narrators, I'm not really liking the narrators much for this story, but audiobooks are really one of the best ways for me to kind of get through books and kind of like understand the world of books and such like that, with also commuting like 45 minutes away from my house to my college, you know, that's the best way that I can get in audiobook listening and such. And like, it's not bad, I will say. There's also a little bit of an age gap, which I'm still not too sure, but a lot of the times when being in either Willa or Cade's point of view, it's very much related to smut and how their bodies kind of turn the other person on, which I don't mind. I feel like it wasn't as heavy as I feel like this one of the words I'm trying to find with this, but with this one, the more like smutty talk is a little bit more on the heavier side than it was with Flawless. Like, I don't remember many of those things and such like that being talked about within Flawless, you know? And I'm just like, I'm not even halfway through, so I can't give like a true update, but like, it's sitting around a 3 to a 3.5 right now. I need to get a little bit more into it, which I also plan on doing later today as well. So you'll also probably see me like with a little bit of clips with that. And also I'll be updating the vlog on the other one as well too. I think I'm going to keep my thoughts minimum when I finish up Heartless, because I want to just mostly talk about my thoughts within the other video that I'm filming while I'm also filming this one. But I'm not too sure if I will pick up Heartless first with this first day and such. So far I haven't read anything yet, and basically what I do is I keep a tracker of my Notion and being like, okay, what's the name of the book? Heartless. And then I have a thing that says like start and end. I put in the number where I start at and then the number where I end at the day and such, and then kind of calculate it. And then I will come back on Monday just to kind of update you guys on how many pages I've read and which books I've read as well too, you know? So yeah, that's really kind of it and such. And I'll probably take you guys along with me while I'm finishing this one up. And also this week is also kind of act like a mood reading type of vlog as well too, where I just kind of pick out books, which ones I like feel or like which ones I'm kind of gravitating to in the moment. And we're going to try and stick to my fall TBR because I have a lot on my fall TBR. I'm staring at them currently and I'm like, yeah, I have a lot of books that I can choose from when it comes to this and such. And right now I'm thinking I need a little bit of a break from romance, because in my other video, I read The Pumpkin Spice Cafe, and just you'll know my my thoughts and such on that. Yeah, you guys will either see me picking up Heartless, or you'll see me reading a little bit of the saga of Loxodel, whatever the book is and such like that. But I will see you guys when you guys see me picking up whichever book, essentially. Good morning, besties. It is currently Monday, September 15th. Yep, September 15th. So yesterday we started the challenge of how many pages I realistically read, like in a week, essentially, you know, college edition. So obviously I have to naturally include the books that I have to read for classes and such. So for the saga of the people of Loxodale, I believe, and such is how you pronounce it, I read about 45 pages from that yesterday, and I did not read a lick of Heartless. I almost said Heartstopper. I did not read a lick of Heartless, but this morning, so I got a new tripod and such because my other one broke, but for some reason, it's not wanting to fit properly where I like have the camera set up and such, you know? So we'll probably need to go back to my other one, but my mom fixed my other tripod, so you know that's nice to have, just like in general and such. But I digress. But this morning I've been listening to Heartless by Elsie Silver. I'm on chapter 14 right now. I listened to like 2 of the chapters earlier this morning and such, and then as I'm like waiting and then gonna go get food and such like that, like it's like 10:18 and such. I got here pretty early because I needed to get my tires torqued, essentially, because I got my car fixed up on Friday, I think, but I don't remember at this point and such. But I had that to do, and obviously I started Heartless and such. And Heartless, I'm not too sure how long it's going to take me. Let me see what the audiobook says. Oh, the audiobook says I have 3 hours and 51 minutes left, which is not bad, actually. Not bad at all, to be honest. But also at the same time, I'm not loving their story, but I'm also not hating it, if that makes any sense. I'm not loving, but also I'm not hating. I hope that makes sense. I think the characters are fun. I think the setting of Chestnut Springs is really, really fun, but I'm just not too sure if I'm loving Willa and Cade's dynamic. I think it's cute, but also I feel like it's gonna come in like, it's gonna come ahead when it comes to the whole single dad nanny thing and such like that. Plus she's 25, he's like 32 or whatever. He's like 13 years older than Willa. So 25 plus 13. Oh, that's 38. Okay. So yeah, we have that stuff going on. And so many people love Heartless. So many people love this one specifically out of the Chestnut Springs series, and I'm not quite getting that feeling and such, you know, but it's definitely sitting around the 3-star to 3.5 camp. And I will say there's been very many sweet moments between the two characters and Luke, who's Cade's son, and Willa just like stood up for Luke in a very cute and also very endearing way and such, because something bad happened to him at a birthday party that he was going to, and it was very sweet, it was very cute, but I'm just not really like feeling it, you know? I'm not feeling the emotion, I'm not feeling the like full-on tug and such like that, you know? It's just one of those things where I'm just like, yeah, it's just one of those things where I'm just like, yeah. But anyways, that's kind of the updates that I have right now. I might record a little bit on campus, but we shall see. Again, I'm not going to talk about my thoughts in this video. You'll have to see my full thoughts on Heartless in my reading highest and lowest rated books on my TBR. Oh, there's a little like turtle dove that just landed next to me in the parking garage. That's fun. Okay, well, I'm going to get some work done. I'm going to get some lunch, and then I will probably check in with you guys either tomorrow or when I'm reading a little bit more of Heartless by Elsie Silver. Good morning, besties. It is currently Tuesday, and I thought I'd check in with you guys and see how many pages I read on Monday. I was going to record a little bit more of Monday, but it just did not really work out too much. But I wanted to update you guys on how many pages I read yesterday. So yesterday, you guys saw me read a little bit of Heartless. I started on page 221, ended on page 169, and then for the other book that I read for class, I started on page 91 and then ended on page 117, which a total came to 74 pages exactly, which was not what I was hoping for, but at a point I just kind of got a little bit stuck in Heartless. And just to kind of update y'all a little bit, I'm not too far into Heartless. I think I'm getting close to the halfway, but not quite. But for this vlog, I'm not gonna talk about it too much because, you know, that type of stuff, you know. And then that's what I have for today. And then this morning while I'm driving to school, I plan on reading / listening to a little bit of Heartless on my way to school, essentially. So that's kind of like my things. I don't really have much to say about Heartless. I didn't cover what I said yesterday, so that was just kind of like my thing, basically just letting you know, hey, I've read this amount of pages, whatever, you know. So, but you guys will probably see a little bit more of me on campus while I'm reading or listening as well too. I have a busy day today as well. Thankfully all my classes are still in one building, which is nice. But yeah, that's pretty much it, to be honest with you. So yeah, I will probably update you guys when I have more than likely finished Heartless, because there's another book that I want to get to this week while I'm doing my how many pages I realistically read in a week. I either want to get to Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman, or I want to get to Finley Donovan is Killing It and starting that book and such, because those they give off fall vibes for me personally. So once I'm done reading Heartless, I will probably update you guys on what I'm feeling essentially. So yeah, that's pretty much it, to be honest with you. That is pretty much it. But yeah, I will see you guys probably in the next clip. besties, and happy Wednesday. It is currently like about 8:40 in the morning currently as I'm filming this, and I thought I would do a reading check-in with how many pages I read yesterday, which was Tuesday. So yesterday I read 3 of the books that I told you guys at the beginning of this vlog that I was reading. I read a little bit more of The Remains of the Day by, don't know how you pronounce his name off the top of my head, but by this author and such. And I started at page 111 and ended on page 169, which is roughly about 78 pages, I think, if I'm doing that math correctly. That sounds about right. No, not 78, 58 pages and such like that. That's about 58 pages. I have it dog-eared because I have, I have the bookmark at this place that we're supposed to stop for Thursday, and I need to read the rest of the chapter and such like that for that day, essentially. So that's going to be a later thing today. I might listen to that on my way up to school. And then yesterday I read a little bit of Heartless. You guys saw that. Started on page 169 and then ended on page 273 and such. I read a little bit before I went to bed and such because I was like, no, I just need to regularly read this instead of just listening to the audiobook and such. So that's about 100. Let me look at my calculations that I did yesterday. Yeah, 104 pages of Heartless. And then for my book for my North's literature class, I only read about 3 pages because I needed to finish up one chapter for another class, and then probably later today I will read the other chapters that I need to read for Thursday's class, essentially. But in total, I read 165 pages, which is a lot more than I did on Monday, which makes sense. Tuesdays and throughout the week, I'm reading a lot, not just with my regular books, but with my college texts as well too, and what I need to read for that, essentially, That's that. I have officially decided to stop listening to the audiobook of Heartless and then just kind of just read it on my own time, just regularly with just music in the background, because I'm not really liking the audiobook, specifically the way that the narrators have their cadence of their words. It's kind of throwing me off, but then again, I listen to at 1.5 speed, so it's a little bit faster than maybe the average. I don't know what everybody listens to their audiobooks at, but for some reason, it's kind of pulling me out of the story, especially when I am listening to it in the car. I'm just like, and I read another another spicy chapter and such yesterday before I went to sleep. So I had that going on, which wasn't too bad and such, but it was better that I just read it like that, than I did that, but I stopped on chapter 24. I told the other vlog this yesterday as well too, but I'll give you maybe a little bit of my thoughts of when I finish this, and maybe you guys will see me have some clips and such like that in here of me reading Heartless just by itself. Because today I have not really another early day, but I have a meeting with my advisor at 12:30 just to make sure I can get stuff ready for graduation and make sure everything's situated with my degree and such like that. Essentially, I just applied for my degree yesterday to be able to go to commencement in the fall and such of this year. So I'm very happy about that. That's one more step towards graduation, which I'm really, really excited for. And now all I just got to do is find work and figure out what the hell I'm going to do with the rest of my life. But I digress. Probably in the next time you guys will see me, you guys will probably see me either reading a little bit more of Heartless, or maybe reading a little bit of Remains of the Day, or reading my saga for my Norse literature class and such like that. But that's all I have to update you guys, and I will see you guys later throughout the day, essentially. Hello guys. So it's been a little bit since I've updated you guys for this vlog specifically, and I wanted to tell you that I finished reading ? Heartless. You guys will understand when you watch my highest and lowest rated book vlog, essentially. But I have finished not really finished and such like that, essentially, of Heartless. I'm recording this kind of in the same night and such, but my thing is, essentially, so tonight, just to give you a little bit of context and such, I started on page not 250. I think it's 240. Oh no, 270 something. Hold on. I started reading on page 273, more specifically. And then I read to chapter 25 and I was literally like, nope. Cannot finish reading the rest of this. Looked up on YouTube, went to spoilers because I was done reading this book. And just to give you a little bit of stuff, I said originally in that video that I rated it like a 3-star on Goodreads. I changed it back to a 2.5 because I just did not enjoy this book very much. But I'm debating, since I skimmed through most of it, I officially stopped reading on chapter 25 and then basically just kind of did like a flip through the rest of these pages all the way getting up to the epilogue, which I read that one thoroughly. But I'm debating if I should count that for pages read because I didn't technically read all of them. I skimmed it, which in my opinion, skimming counts. Because as an English major, we skim a lot of shit for our classes, essentially. So I'm thinking about just calling it and just saying that I read the rest of this book. And you guys are going to see this well before I make this decision, or well before you guys have an opinion of saying this, because it will be made. But basically, I'm counting this as finishing and reading a book for this vlog and how many pages I realistically read in a week. And sometimes I don't even read all of the books, and it just depends. And I think what really fucked me up with this one specifically is I came off of it from reading, where was it? Oh yes. Before I dove into this one and such, I just came off of reading this one, which is the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. And this is small town, big city girl trope. Small town boy, big city girl trope? I think yes. And I think it also low-key kind of ruined me after reading this one, which is why I'm just I need to take a break from romance. So I plan on probably going back to this in the future, but right now I'm still going to continue on with the rest of the series. I'm not going to dive into Powerless because one, I'm not in a romance mood anymore. That has just solidified this has just solidified me that I am not in a romance mood. And thankfully, not all of my books on my TBR for the fall are not all romances, which is really, really nice. Basically, I kind of wanted to update you guys and basically figuring out what book I was going to read next. I have 3 contenders technically that I could start with and such, and specifically the ones that I'm thinking of starting with probably either tomorrow morning or tonight is I have Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. This is a short little book where Kalila Denson recommended this to me. This is one of her favorite literary fictions of all time. I think she either regards it as a 5 or a 6-star read and such, but I'm oh yeah. And we have pretty good taste similar and such with literary fiction and historical fiction vibes, and I trust her. I trust her with my life with this one. And then these next 2 ones are actually book club books. Specifically, this one book club book of mine is The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillick. This one is... obviously, it's a fantasy, and this one I'm reading for Jolie's book club. I'll put the screenshot up on the screen and such like that, so you know which one I'm talking about with this one. But I'm not too sure if I'm in a fantasy mood yet, because I know I've heard that there's a little bit of romance and such, but I do see a quote on the front from Rebecca Ross, which she, if you guys don't know, she wrote the Letters of Enchantment duology, and I'm just oh yes, sign me up for that, please. And anything that Rebecca has her name attached to, I'm oh yes, Rebecca Ross, with her giving this little quote on the front of the book, I'm oh yes, yeah, sign me up. But that's what I'm thinking for this one. I'm pretty sure, who does it follow? Sybil. It looks like it follows this girl named Sybil. She's a diviner, I think is how you pronounce it and such. And this book I'm pretty sure is about the Stonewater Kingdom and such, but I'm not too sure if maybe I'm in the mood for fantasy, but I'm hoping that this is not a romantasy type of thing, because I don't know if I want to deal with romance and fantasy. I can deal with fantasy with a little bit of a side plot of romance, but I'm not going to what's the word? like be overly thrilled about the romance unless it's cute, unless it's fun. But oh my goodness, the cover's coming off. But that's book number 2. And then book number 3 is for Cody and James's book club, which is You Like It Darker by Stephen King, which is a collection of short stories essentially by him, where there's an actual quote on the back of the book where it's like, you like it darker? Fine, so do I. And basically it just follows like this collection of short stories that delve into the darker part of life, both metaphorical and literal as well too. This was his 2024 release, I think, which is why I have it in the hardback. I was like, I need to get this. Like, I need to get this. And so I did. And I technically also have it on my Kindle as well too, you know, but I digress to say the least. But those are the ones that I'm kind of in between the moment. Another one that I've thought about also starting as well too, it's technically part of a series, which is Indigo Ridge by Devney Perry, but that's also a romance. And I'm like, I need to like take a break from romance because I am getting very burnt out on romance. And then another one I have is Wayward, but I kind of want to save that for another video I'm planning in like October related to like Halloween and witchy vibes and such, you know. And then I also have Finley Donovan is Killing It by El Casamino, I believe, that I could do as well because I am just not in a romance mood. I'm not in a romance mood whatsoever. I don't need romance right now. I truly do not need romance. And right now my heart is thinking Eleanor Oliphant and such because I can start it like right before I go to sleep and such because one, it's a really short book and I'm pretty sure that the book on Spotify is pretty short as well too. But then again, I will probably think on it. But these are the 3 that I'm thinking right now and such. And I will come back to you guys in the morning with an official page summary of today, which was Wednesday. It's weird that it's only the middle of the week as I'm recording this, but you know, I will see you guys tomorrow. Good morning again, besties. How many times are y'all going to get sick of me being in this position of the video? Because I'm low-key kind of getting sick, just kind of filming here and such. But it is currently Thursday morning, and I wanted to update on how many pages I read exactly yesterday. And I know yesterday I said that I finished reading, if you want to call it that, Heartless. But in total, for pages, when I actually read and actually just started skimming and such, I started at 273 and then ended at 285, which was a total of 12 pages. But I'm still counting Heartless towards my reading goal because I mostly read it, so I'm counting it towards my reading goal and such. But anyways, I just kind of wanted to update you guys on the stuff that I got going on today. I got a really long day today. I have to go up to Iowa City before classes start and get a shot for one of my medications, essentially, you know, for like my allergies and such. So I just kind of wanted to update you guys. And I forgot to bring down the book, so I will just show you like the hardback like cover essentially. But I decided to start officially reading The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. I have not officially started reading it. I will probably start it on my lunch break or something along that lines. Maybe will do it on the drive home and such. But right now, that's the book that I decided to read and such. It's a book club book of mine, so I'm really, really excited to dive into it as well. And that's pretty much it. I didn't read anything else for my classes yesterday. Well, technically, I read one thing for my creative nonfiction class, but those aren't actually like pages within books, so I technically didn't count it towards that. But I did read a little bit more yesterday. I just decided to just put down Heartless and then just take a break from romance altogether. And I know that The Night and the Moth says it's like a fantasy and a romance. I'm just really hoping it's not the forefront of the story because I'm a little bit sick of romance right now and I just need a little bit of a break from romance specifically so I can like appreciate it again when I dive back into it. But that's kind of the updates I have for Wednesday. I will probably bring my camera on campus and such so y'all can see me reading a little bit of The Night and the Moth, or you'll probably see me listening to it on the car ride home. But that's kind of the plans that I have for today. I'm going to be kind of running around campus. Well, technically all 3 of my classes are in one building, but it's going to feel like I'm running around on campus because I'm going to be there all day, to say the least. And I'm just like, that's going to be a really tiring day for me specifically and such. But that's the plan right now. I think I might take y'all's in the car with me when I'm listening to the remains of the day, when I'm going up to Iowa City for my appointment and such like that. I'm also just kind of like doing this in a hurry because it's like 7:30. My appointment's at like 9:15. It takes me like 45 minutes roughly to get from my house to my doctor's appointment essentially. So I have that going on. But other than that, I don't think I have anything else to update y'all's on. I'll let you know like when I officially finish some of my other books that I'm reading for classes and such. But for right now, I am reading The Night and the Moth. I'm going to start reading The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig because I just need a break from romance. I need it. I need a break. I don't know if I can deal with it. I need a break. But yeah, that's all I have to say. And I will probably see you guys when I'm listening to either Remains of the Day or when I am listening to The Night and the Moth. Good morning, friends. Okay. I feel like I need to explain some things. So yesterday was obviously Thursday, and I recorded one measly little clip of me listening to The Remains of the Day while I was commuting to school, essentially. And I did not pick up the camera at all yesterday because, one, it was a shit show. Specifically. So let me say this. I have a dog, Piper. You guys have seen her in videos before as well too. She's the sweetest thing in the entire world. But a couple of days ago, she hurt her leg and she's been like having issues, but like it hasn't been as much, you know, like she hasn't been like hurting too much essentially, you know. And then one thing that we like to do and such is we like to go for these things called rides where it's usually my mom and I, and we take Piper and basically just like put her in the car and such. And yesterday she was in pain and such like that essentially. And so mom was like, oh, let's take her and such like that and go. And she's a bigger dog, as you guys have seen and such. So she was having a lot of issues getting up into the car yesterday and such. So she was just kind of sitting and was just kind of like not putting weight on her bum leg, which is her right front leg essentially. And then when we got into the house and such, it was evidence, like after we were done with the ride, it was basically evidence that she was not doing good. And fast forward maybe like a couple hours or so, and Piper just fully can't walk properly by herself. Like she just can't do it. She can't do it. And we've tried to get her, she's gone outside and such like that. So she peed for the night essentially, you know, and we were going to bring her upstairs because usually what it is and such is mom and I, we go upstairs to sleep essentially, you know, and then we bring her up with us essentially, you know, and that type of thing. But since her leg was hurting so much yesterday, she wasn't able to get up on the stairs on her own. So we had a little bit of a debacle basically and such and trying to get her up the stairs. She stopped on like the landing part of our house essentially. And then she kind of gave up and we were like, yeah, no, let's just keep you downstairs and such like that. And keep in mind, she has not been outside. I've been trying to get her to go outside with me to go potty, but I think the only time she will is if I take her not off the deck essentially. So I'm going to try and take her outside later after I'm done filming this clip essentially, but I thought I would just update you guys on what's going on in my personal life in that. So puppy doggo, she's not doing the greatest right now and so she's just like hurt her leg, and I'm hoping that with this last remaining of ice and such, I will be able to take her out and go potty essentially, you know, but I don't think it'll be for a long time. I'll probably just do like a go and then come back in essentially, you know, but I think she can do it essentially. And that's also one of the reasons why I didn't read too much yesterday too. The only things I did read yesterday was The Remains of the Day, and then along with my medieval Norse literature book essentially, which in total was about 62 pages combined. I was going to try and start The Night and the Moth yesterday before I went to sleep, but that just did not happen and such because one of the whole Piper debacle and situation and such. But randomly this morning I woke up at 6 a.m. Mom and like dad were like up with her essentially, you know, and like she did not have very much good sleep essentially since she was in pain, and she's refusing to eat and take her pills and such. So this morning while mom was getting a little bit more sleep, I started reading The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig right here and such like that. I have the physical copy, but not gonna lie, whenever I'm reading hardbacks for like the first like couple chapters, it hurts my wrist. So I bought the Kindle version of The Night and the Moth essentially. essentially. I'm just going to put it somewhere on the screen so you know which one I'm talking about. And I'm not too far in. I've gotten to like chapter 3, I think. And I will say the way that this is told is extremely interesting. It's an interesting world that we're following. I don't think I told you guys like what it's actually about. So let me just kind of explain a little bit via the description essentially. So it basically says that Sybil Delling has spent 9 years dreaming and having no dreams at all. Like the other fondling girls who traded a decade of service for a home in the great cathedral, Sybil is a diviner. In her dreams, she receives 6 visions from 6 unearthly figures known as the omens. From them, she can predict terrible things before they occur, and lords and common folks alike travel across the Stonewater Kingdoms, windswept moors, and Craggy Mountains, I think, to learn their fortunes by her dreams. Just as she and her sister diviners near the end of their service, a mysterious knight arrives at the cathedral. Rude and heretical and devilishly handsome, the knight Roderick has no respect for Sybil's visions, but when Sybil's fellow diviners begin to vanish one by one, she has no choice but to seek his help in finding them. From the world outside the cathedral's cloister is, I don't know how you pronounce that and such, it's filled with peril. Essentially, only the gods have the answer she is seeking, and as much as she'd rather avoid Roderick's dark eyes and sharp tongue, only the heretic can defeat a god. So it was kind of following that, and the way that we start off with, she basically says that she doesn't have a name, but yet her name is also Sybil as well too. Oh, actually, that might be a spoiler and such like that. But the way that it's told is really interesting. I just read through how the dreams work, and it's really kind of an interesting process. I don't think I've ever read a fantasy book that does that and such like that. And this would be my first Rachel Gillig book. I know she's very much known for One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns. Those are like her last 2 duology books. I'm thinking this is going to be a duology too, but I don't really know off the top of my head. I really don't know off the top of my head, but we have that going on essentially. Looking at the timer for Pretty Girly and such for her ice packs. But yeah, the reason why you didn't see me recording much today is because I did not pick up the camera, not much, to say the least, and I haven't been reading this much this morning either because I've been kind of getting my ducks in a row. So I'm going to try and edit a little bit, and then probably later tonight I will read a little bit more of The Night and the Moth and such. And I will say, this cover is really gorgeous. Oopsies. This cover is really gorgeous. I don't know if y'all have seen it and such, but it's really kind of gorgeous, and it makes me think what the next book is gonna be in this series as well too. And it's not, I don't know about y'all's, but a lot of the times when I'm getting into fantasy series I really like to have the next book when it comes out. The only exception I have for that was probably Heartless Hunter and such, because I thought the second book came out already, but when I first read that and such, well before I started this YouTube channel, essentially. But so far, it's an interesting read. It's not like any of the other typical fantasies I've read, and I tell you what, I needed to get away from contemporary romance for a while, and I'm really hoping this helps me out and such. So I'm excited. I'm excited to dive into this more and such. I only made it to chapter 3, and we've got a lot more left, to say the least. My bookmark is right here on the actual thing itself, essentially, But yeah, I will see you guys next when I am reading a little bit more of The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. Hello again, guys. I should probably explain why there is no clip of me reading yesterday. And the fact is that I started on chapter 1 and read to chapter 3 of The Night and the Moth yesterday while I was not recording. And I didn't do anything else after that. I'm not gonna lie. I did nothing else after that. And let's just say today is Saturday. This is my first time actually picking up the camera because I've not been able to pick up the camera all fucking day today, essentially. So I don't have any further reading updates right now because I haven't read anything from The Night and the Moth today because I have not had any time. Today has basically been kind of chaos personified, essentially, and there was just so much happening that I could not get like any like stuff like done related, not even schoolwork done, not even like this as well too. And it's like almost 9 o'clock at night as I'm recording this little recording this little bit, and like I don't think it's going to be the outro because I want to try and read a little bit tonight, but the odds of that happening are very much like 0 to 15% and such. Just kind of depends because I have pretty much, these last couple of days have been pretty much a fucking shit show, to say the least. It has been such a shit show that one, I didn't want to record because it was a lot of stuff going on in my personal life. My dog's not doing that great and such. We're just trying to figure out answers, and of course with so many other things happening within my household that it's just like so exhausting anymore nowadays, essentially. And I haven't been able to work on schoolwork either. I haven't been able to read properly and such. And this video is technically supposed to end today / tomorrow and such when I update of my final page count of how many pages I realistically read this week. And this week I did not read that many pages, I can tell you that and such. I'll probably say a little bit more tomorrow when I record the outro for this video and such. And I've also been very behind on my upload schedule. I've been kind of uploading on very weird times, essentially trying to get back on a schedule, but a lot of the times it's not working, to say the least. But I'm trying my best here, especially with getting back into school and that type of stuff as well too. But I just basically came to kind of just like update you on like how many pages I actually read yesterday. So I started on page 1 and then ended on page 26. So in total I read 25 pages and such of The Night and the Moth. And I think I told you guys my opinion already, which I don't really have that many because I'm like 10% into the book. And usually I don't really start forming opinions until maybe about like the 35-40% mark and such, because it's had time to build itself as a story, and it's had time for the author to kind of just introduce us to the world, essentially. And the way that she's introduced us to this world is extremely interesting. I will say that, and I think I said that in my last update as well too. But other than that, I don't really have too much to talk about. Maybe I will listen to the audiobook a little bit, but honestly, after I'm done recording, I think I'm going to try and edit for a little bit. Just today has just basically been chaos personified, and it's a realistic week, essentially, you know? It's very much realistic and such like that. I didn't pick up the camera multiple times. A lot of things were going wrong, essentially, during the week, and it was just chaos. And that's unfortunately, or fortunately, however you look at it and such, is a realistic week in my life. And yeah, some days on Saturdays I can read a fuck ton of stuff, and sometimes on Saturdays I cannot. It all just kind of depends on what I'm reading and what I'm not reading as well too. And also low-key, just to kind of vent to y'alls and such. Next week, well, naturally not next week, but tomorrow, which is Sunday, I have my new video idea that I have, which is a dice game chooses my books for the week and such. And since I'm already reading The Night and the Moth, no matter what the first roll is gonna be, I'm going to finish up reading The Night and the Moth, and the other two will be more on the authentic side of things. And maybe I'll even just like do this as just like an audiobook, just like my book for the car, maybe I do that, but that's my kind of thinking right now and such. So I will say that, but other than that, I don't really have anything else to update. Maybe I'll get a clip of me listening to The Night and the Moth, but at this point, it's going to be very much slim to none, friends. It's going to be very much slim to none. So I do apologize if this video was very much chaotic in parts, because sometimes I couldn't even pick up the camera, and I do want to apologize with that in advance, but that's also a realistic week in my life. Sometimes I can't pick up the camera all the time. I can't always be like almost on camera ready, but also at the same time not really, because I will kind of come to you guys in any state essentially, and I'm learning kind of like how to trust you guys in that aspect and such, and just kind of being okay with showing my life, my achievements, my downs, and like that type of stuff essentially, because social media, we've always kind of personified it as something that we have to be on top of all the time, and specifically we have to try and be the best that we can, when in reality that just doesn't work, and y'all are seeing the real person behind the camera essentially. She's creeping out right now, and maybe I can do that a little bit more in the future and such, but yeah, that's kind of all I have to update now. I will probably do the outro for the video tomorrow, basically adding up the books essentially that I have read throughout the week. Good morning, besties, and now we are getting to the outro of the video, and I think I said something along the lines of yesterday of like, I'm gonna try and maybe listen to a little bit of The Night and the Moth. That didn't happen. So in summary, yesterday on Saturday, I read a number of 0 pages. Did not pick up a book once, just did not do it. So kind of want to come on here and kind of recap the books that I've read. So Sunday, obviously, I read this saga that I had to read for my Norse literature class. And then for Monday, I read Heartless, and then also that saga as well too, which Sunday was 45 pages in total. Then Monday was 74 pages in total, adding that together. And then Tuesday, I read Heartless, The Remains of the Day, and that saga as well too, which was a total of 165 pages. And then Wednesday, I only read about 12 pages and finished / DNF'd Heartless by Elsie Silver and such. That was a total of 12 pages that day. And then Thursday, I had the saga along with The Remains of the Day, which in turn added up to 62 pages. And then Friday, I only read The Night and the Moth, which was about 25 pages. And then obviously on Saturday, 0 pages were read. And the total number of pages I read for the week was around 383 pages, which honestly is not a lot. This week is very much a realistic version because a lot of shit was going down. A lot of stuff was going down in my personal life, essentially. And just so much was just like happening that I'm just like, was not able to pick up my books very much and such. I just kind of wanted to just like update and such like that a little bit about it. Again, I finished, the only book I really like truly finished on reading was Heartless by Elsie Silver, which I gave that a 2.5. Did not really like it that much, I can get why people like it, but I think after I read The Pumpkin Spice Cafe, I think this kind of ruined it for me and such. And because they were basically kind of like around like the small town boy, big city girl tropes and such, and I was just like, yeah, I don't know if I want to read that. But that's the only book that I ended up finishing within this place and such like that. And then I have a little bit left of The Remains of the Day and such, and then I have a lot left of The Night and the Moth. And also I got new strapsticles to match my Kindle insert and such, because orange, getting ready for fall and such like that essentially. But yeah, that is it. That's all I have for y'all's. I really do hope you guys enjoyed it. This was an interesting time specifically with what has transpired this week and such. I do plan on keeping doing these just to kind of see what it's like to see how many pages I realistically read in a week. This week I didn't read that much. Last time I did one of these challenges, I read a lot essentially, and some of these I'm just I didn't read that much, but then some of them I did end up reading a lot. So, it's just one of those things where you just kind of figure it out as you go and such. But yeah, that's all I have to say for now. I hope you guys really did enjoy the video. Let me know if you guys do want to see this more, and comment a butterfly emoji. Comment a butterfly emoji if you made it to the end of this video as well. All of my links are going to be down in the description down below. Some of them are also going to be popping up on the screen as well too. But yeah, I hope you guys have an amazing day, week, month, and year. See you later, friends.